So imagine there was an independent presidential primary where it's Mark Cuban, The Rock, me, Oprah, Matthew McConaughey, Justin Amash, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, whoever your favorite figures are. I don't know if you want to throw someone into this mix, Peter, if I missed someone that you like.
Is this they have to agree, or are they being drafted?
Either, for the sake of this
maybe we'll throw Tony Robbins and Elon into the mix too.
Holy cow. So Elon, unfortunately, is not born in the U.S., so there's
Tony is.
But Tony Robbins,
Jeff Bezos,
love it.
Jeff's going to, he's got the Washington Post. He's building rockets. He's got to, it's got to be something new he's going to go do.
Let's throw Tony and Jeff into the mix. Sure. And we can all vote in this primary on our smartphones. Say, I like Tony. I like Andrew. I like Mark Cuban. And then our vote is verified via a personalized QR code that gets sent to our mailing address. You scan it. Congratulations, your vote has been verified. Millions of Americans are participating in actual democracy. And then the legacy parties would be left saying, no, none of that is real. What is real is waiting to hear what 6% of Iowans think in February. And then millions of Californians and New Yorkers and everyone else would be like, wait a minute, that makes 0 sense. I don't give a shit what Iowans think any other time. Why am I caring this time? Or, no offense to anyone, because I love you all, but like South Carolina or New Hampshire, you could just like throw whatever the heck the early basket of states. I went through this process. Only 6.5% of Iowans participated in the Democratic caucus I was a part of. It's probably going to be a not that much higher percentage of Iowans in this Republican caucus.
So let me get this straight. There's a process by which you raise above some threshold, and I don't care if you're the Kardashians or whomever, if you want to run for president, what would be the criteria for getting yourself on this digital ballot?
This is so fun, Peter, because those 20 people, your 20 people, whomever, most of them know that if they ran for president as a Democrat or Republican, it would be miserable. That they would get shivved the same way that we've seen, let's call it Mike Bloomberg get shivved or whomever. But if you got to run in this independent primary, then you could genuinely make your case. You could be positive. Yeah. There's not a machine trying to oppress you at every turn. And real Americans could get behind you and vote for you in real time. So the wonder of this is that a political party can design its nomination process however it wants. The Democrat and Republican Party have chosen to design it in a particularly anachronistic, nonsensical way, not because they think it's smart, but mainly because of inertia, and they prefer to control. It
gives them control, of course.
It's just control, right? And part of that control has been the media, where if you see how the media covers various candidates, and I was part of this too, so in my book Forward, they very much have their thumb on the scale for certain candidates. And so that's how they try to make sure that their chosen candidate or candidates win. But now all of that's falling apart. And so what is the new process that replaces it all? There is, you and I both know, and everyone listening to this know, the tech for what I'm describing is completely mature. A political party can, again, nominate however it wants. The only things that you need are, number one, some heavyweights who are willing to run in this kind of process, and number two, ballot access in all 50 states. Now, the ballot access is, if you had to put a price tag on it, maybe it costs you about $50 million. Now, the Forward Party already has legal recognition in about 8 states. We're kind of marching towards 20 by the end of 2024, let's say. So this is the infrastructure so that reasonable candidates actually can submit themselves genuinely to the American people without the massive gatekeeping function of the two legacy parties that just want to keep everyone out.
It's the way it should be. We do, we move millions of dollars, and some people billions of dollars on Bitcoin on your smartphone. You have all of your functions in life in verified fashion. Why not vote? That's brilliant. Now, you've mentioned Mark Cuban 3 times. Have you spoken to him about this?
I have, and he is one of my top draft picks for this endeavor. If you don't know, check out his Cost Plus Drugs. He's literally saving
I do know
Americans.
the company. It's amazing.
Great stuff.
Love
you, Mark.
Yeah. So listen, I think this is a fantastic idea, and at this point, hopefully, it's not just being about a popular individual. It's hopefully going to be being popular and being intelligent and having good policies. I mean, why do people say this wouldn't work? I mean, I would imagine people say, well, a populist politician or president doesn't have the experience that's needed to run. They have to rise through the ranks of local, state, and federal politics.
Most people have not dug into it even that deeply, Peter, honestly. Most people just knee-jerk think, well, third party, hopeless, Ross Perot, Ralph Nader, Jill Stein, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if they looked at the numbers, they would see that now 49% of Americans self-identify as independents, almost twice as what identify as Democrat or Republican, that this kind of internet voting is now very, very doable and natural for Americans in a way it was not even in the 90s. But their reservations are not the ones you just cited, because most Americans are fed up. They would happily take a reasonable human that is not of the machine at this point. They just don't think it's possible because of the conditioning, particularly from the media, that you must choose either column A or column B and nothing else exists.
Yeah, I think people don't realize the influence the media has on politics. And we, for I don't know what reason, think of the media as still concrete. What's his name? Howard.
Walter Cronkite?
Walter Cronkite, yes. I mean, it's independent, it's truthful, it's representing truth in the American way, but that's anything but.
Well, this podcast will probably get a similar audience to one of the major cable channels,
Well, and
a much cooler audience, I will say, a much better audience. Most of the people watching this are not tuning in.
Yeah, they're entrepreneurs. They care about changing the world, and they want the mindset is let's find out where we can make things better. Up and to the right. It's interesting, right? Because maybe it's going to be Twitter, maybe it's going to be Google, maybe it's going to be some other platform, but the platforms exist for full verification and to reach everybody in America.
Well, you talk about the media. I mean, I think that's what motivated Elon in buying Twitter/X now, is that he thought, this is going to be one way I can actually try to improve the nature of the messages that are getting out. But what I'm describing, it's right there for us, man. The fun thing is you can imagine who would run, and a lot more excellent people would run if they thought they would be treated fairly.
Do you think the U.S. people would change the rules about being born in the U.S. if Elon wanted to run?
I don't know, but I'd certainly love to test that proposition out. I was with Arnold Schwarzenegger not that long ago, and I said, you should test that proposition out. But here's one of the fun things, Peter. Let's say that this independent primary does come to pass. I'm just going to speak for myself. If I were part of it, and let's say I lose to, I'll keep using Mark just as my example.
Yeah, sure.
I would then endorse Mark and say, hey man, let me go campaign for you around the country. And you could campaign anywhere. You'd end up with a team of a dozen high-powered surrogates and something of an administration or a cabinet in waiting. And the American people would be like, that crew is a crew I would trust and prefer much more than the current freaking panoply of, frankly, mostly second raters.
I love it. You're right. Once it flips, you've got 30 incredible influencers ready to back the independent candidate.
Yeah, that's the vision, man. It's going to be the Avengers of rationality and true progress.
Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment down below about what topics you would like to see covered next. Thanks for watching.